Today I fucked up by playing VR. So, I recently replaced my poorly functioning Oculus Rift CV1 with a Quest 2. Facebook-driven privacy issues aside, I've been desperate for a headset I can afford and that would actually work. For those who don't have experience with these devices, I will say that the CV1 is wired and dependent upon a capable gaming PC, while the Quest 2 is natively wireless with the option to hook up to the PC for added power. Let me tell you, it is very easy to get used to the inherent mobility restrictions of being tethered to a PC, and even easier to get carried away in your play area when you transition to wireless. But, the boundaries do not suddenly change. Last weekend I was getting really into Echo VR, which is essentially a team-based 3D ultimate frisbee game. You and your team fly around in a zero-G arena with the objective of throwing a disc into a goal past the opposing players. Highest score wins. Pretty straightforward. After a few drinks and perhaps a bit of that jazz cabbage, I'm pretty well immersed in this virtual escape. I'm having a good time shooting the shit with other players, getting a light workout jumping around my office playing virtual frisbee soccer. The game is nearing the end, the disc comes my way, I lunge for it and am startled out of my virtual revelry by an impact and the sound of crashing glass. Fuck, I knocked over my water glass and shattered it. Better jump out of this game and clean this up. My sleeping GF is going to roll her eyes in the morning if she didn't wake up from the clatter. I rip off my headset and am greeted by a murder scene instead of a minor flood. It turns out that the sound of crashing glass was not a fallen water vessel, rather, it was the sound of a fist crashing through a plate glass window. I lunged right through my established VR boundary and punched out a window in the French doors of my office, severely lacerating my hand. One trip to the emergency room later, in the middle of a pandemic that is causing bed shortages in my area, and I am now recovering during a break from VR and gaming altogether with 3 stitches on my pinky, 6 stitches on my middle finger, 9 stitches on the meaty part of my thumb, also nicked an artery and spurted blood all over myself, including my face mask, and I sliced off half of the nail and nail bit of my index finger. A total of 18 stitches. Now that's immersion. Needless to say, I am taking a break from VR, and I implore people to set up their boundaries with some built-in leeway. Don't draw your boundaries at the base of your obstacles. Give yourself some cushion for the inevitable fuck-up. Note, the ER staff were very amused and hadn't ever had a VR-related injury before, so they were happy to break from everything else going on. So, it was nice to make their night, I guess. Too long didn't read, I needed 18 stitches from playing a virtual game. Edit, didn't get a picture of the blood trails or lacerated hand, but here are a couple after the fact for illustration. People recommend to have a small rug in the middle of your play area so you can feel where you're in your play space. Do you have something similar? If not, well, now you might want to consider it. Get well soon and back into VR, mate. I just got my VR headset just a week or 2 ago and the first thing I bought for it was a plush rug so that I know I need to get back on it when I step off. It has saved me many times so far. If I had glass in my door, I'd be able to commiserate. My CV1 is still going strong, but those black touch controllers have a lot of paint on them that used to be on woodwork. Thought I broke my fingers a couple times throwing stuff in Robo-Recall and Blade and Sorcery. It's easy to get carried away. Lucky for me, the worst that's happened has been damage to paint and one smashed model airplane that I punched while sabering beats. R/2 fits perfectly here. Hadn't heard of this before, I'll give it a cross post, thanks. People who live in glass houses shouldn't virtual frisbee soccer. Jazz cabbage took me a second. That's a new one to me. Today I fucked up by stripping for my whole company. This actually did happen today, about a half hour ago. I'm a college student doing a remote part-time internship at a company with about 200 employees. Every week, we have a company-wide meeting over video call. Usually, these meetings don't require a lot of participation, so recently, I've started working out in my bedroom while watching the meeting with my camera off. Today, I was a couple minutes late to the meeting, so I hurriedly rejoined, then started changing into my workout clothes. Just as I was sliding my jeans off, I got kicked out of the meeting. For a couple seconds, I wondered what happened, and then it hit me, I forgot to turn my camera off. A quick test confirmed that my tighty whities had been in full view of the camera and the more than 100 participants in the meeting. After a few minutes of regretting every decision that led up to the incident, I mustered up the courage to rejoin, with my camera off. The meeting just ended, and I'm still not sure how many people saw me. Too long didn't read, I accidentally left my camera on in a meeting with over 100 people while I took off my clothes. Update: the head of HR, who was the one who removed me, messaged me to tell me that I'm not in danger of losing my job, so that's a relief. He's a pretty chill guy and seemed to think it was pretty funny. HR guy was stoked. Edit: thanks for the kind awards. Fixing the typo, HR guy was stroked. I'm commenting here just for the follow-up. Well done op. My guess, purely from the follow-up, is they have started training HR just to watch screens and kick people out the second anything starts going anywhere towards inappropriate because people are at home and these mistakes are bound to happen. Good on the company and HR for remembering that people are human and make mistakes. Also for being able to tell the difference between a mistake and a deliberate attempt at being inappropriate. I see it happen, way too often, that companies forget this concept and fire people for things that were simple mistakes because they're human. Holy shit, now that's a wrap, hope it turns out good for you. My friend is a lawyer and he was streaming live from his bedroom, makeshift office, to the courts. His daughter, 5, ran into the room screaming about how her older sister was going to kill her and court was suspended. All good, judge understood as he has had children before. Lol. Bailiff dispatched to lawyer's bedroom to restore order. I started reading assuming the top was female. Same, I actually wondered it's kinda odd for a female to wear tighty whities before it finally hit me. Maybe because men are generally not embarrassed about being seen in underwear. Today I fucked up by thinking that I 23F have a prostate. Today I fucked up by thinking that I 23F have a prostate. So this actually happened a few months ago, but I thought it was funny and worth sharing. Here's the setup. I, 23F, am currently pregnant with baby number 2 and dealing with some rough sciatica pain. Because of this I have been seeing a prenatal chiropractor. Side note, good chiropractors are amazing and I highly recommend getting adjusted. At my first appointment they adjusted me and then gave me a sheet/diagram showing all of the subluxations that I had. It's actually very interesting and helpful. It shows how different vertebrae being out of place can affect other areas of your health. For example, the C1 is connected to your pituitary gland, facial bones, and inner ear. Now, I didn't realize that the chart was unisex. Silly I know, but since it's a prenatal clinic I just assumed the chart was geared towards a woman's system. So I bring this diagram home to show my husband. He also thinks it's neat. He is quick to point out that several of my out-of-place vertebrae are connected to the prostate, saying something along the lines of, "Wow, your prostate was really out of whack. All your bathroom troubles will be solved." He said this as a joke but I didn't realize he was joking at the time and was quick to agree. Later I am on a video chat with my sisters, mom, and Sil. I tell them all about my chiropractor appointment, how amazing I feel and how my prostate was way out of whack. They start laughing and saying I shouldn't go to that chiropractor anymore because women don't have prostates. I was embarrassed to say the least. I muted the chat, went to my husband and said, "Babe, I don't have a prostate." Y'all, he looked so confused. He's like, "Yeah, I know, and if you do we need to have a serious conversation." So it was a little embarrassing at first, but now I think it's hilarious. Hope you got a laugh. Too long didn't read. Today I fucked up by misunderstanding my DH sarcasm, thinking that I have a prostate and announcing it in front of all of the women in my immediate family. Edit: thanks for the awards. Edit 2: thank you to everyone informing me that chiropractic care is considered a pseudoscience. I honestly didn't know that. My OB actually recommended that I see a chiropractor and my insurance covers their care, so I would have had no reason to think they were not MDs. Edit 3: as for lack of education education, my family was all aware that women don't have prostates. Seeing as we were all homeschooled, I would assume that it was as a part of our education, and I just wasn't paying attention during that lesson. Surely you don't all remember every part of every lesson you ever attended. Definitely worth it for me to do a sex ed review course though. Edit 4, I don't really appreciate all the moron and idiot comments. But you know what they say, if you don't have something nice to say, be sure and post it anonymously on a Reddit sub. For example, the C1 is connected to your pituitary gland, facial bones, and inner ear. This is easily debunked. Yes, we know that different parts of the spinal cord give off spinal nerves that cover different parts of the body. Physical tightening or inflammation of those spaces in between the vertebrae can cause symptoms in those myotomes/dermatomes. You have nice cranial nerves that innervate those things. So that checks off trigeminal N, CNV, facial N, CN7, and vestibulocochlear N, CN8. As for how your C1 innervates your pituitary gland, let me think about that for half a second. Nope. Your spinal cord does not exit your skull then just decide to send recurrent nerves back up to one of the most deep structures in your brain. This is just plain false. We would then expect to see hormone level abnormalities in ERs with patients who have whiplash injuries from car accidents. Also, if chiropractors are manipulating your C1 nerves, does that mean they can alter your FSH/TSH/oxytocin/etc. levels directly? Wow, that's incredible. I can't get my wallet out fast enough. Chiropractors are not doctors. They do not go through medical school. They do not have required residency/fellowships. They are grifters who do not provide adequate solutions to physical issues. You know who does? Physical therapists. You know, the people your real doctors refer you to. Why? Because they actually provide an opportunity to becoming independent without needing constant appointments. Sorry for the rant. I'm just a burnt out medical student who is tired of the pseudoscience. Edit, am dumbass, forgot cranial nerve numbers. Refer to the sentence above. You should probably look up some sex ed online. You never know what else you missed, and it's never too late to learn. My grandmother wanted to go get her prostate checked after seeing a commercial about it. Lol. There's only a few ways grandmothers can say they need a finger up their ass without being too obvious. Sex education is important, people! Exclamation mark. I just came to say that C1 is not connected to your pituitary or face bones. This is why chiropractors don't make any sense. I'm an MD, and any subluxation in a cervical vertebra is a serious issue that would only be further exacerbated by manipulation.